AFTV. Lee, it's another draw at Anfield, my bro. How has that left you feeling? Because there's a lot of emotions right now.
Do you know what? Before the game, I was quite confident. I said, 2-0 win. I thought that our midfield kind of would really dominate. But listen, I don't think the performance matched up to the confidence I had in the game. But overall, look, I'm quite happy. And the reason why is because I'm still thinking about winning the league. And I think if I'm trying to win the league, going to Anfield, getting a point, I could take it and I can move on. I think if that game was played at the Emirates, I think we would have won today, and I think I think we would have put the sword to them a little bit. So, listen, going away, you get a point and you move. Now, you look at Man City over the last couple of years; they've gone to Liverpool and they've lost. Last season, they went to Liverpool and they lost. And what did they win at the end? They won the treble. So I'm not sitting here saying we're going to do it, but it's a thing where I look at it as a point gained from what Man City have done over the years there. So, listen, you have to try and beat the teams around you, but you can't lose against them. And you have to obviously beat the smaller teams. And I think that over the course of the season, that's going to be more damaging to teams like Liverpool if they can't beat the top teams, because they haven't beat the top teams away from home. They haven't beat Chelsea away from home. They haven't beat Man United at home. They haven't beat us. So if they're looking at like one of our nearest and dearest challenges this season, they're not beating the big teams. So we have to make sure that we beat the teams at home, and we have beat Man City, we have beat Man United, and we obviously have drawn against Liverpool. So listen, I know if in perspective of today, I wanted a bit of a better performance, but overall, I'm thinking about the league, and with that context, I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, listen, I'm sure we're going to get into some of the players' performances, positively and negatively. But yeah, I can take that and move on.
Well, listen, let's start with Saka and Martinelli, because there's been a lot of talk about them not really being at it for Arsenal. They sit top of the table, by the way, but I get where people are coming from in terms of what we're seeing, particularly in Martinelli. What do you think is going on with them two at the moment?
Do you know what? I feel like Martinelli is just in his head, because if you go back and watch that game, and I'm going to go back and watch that game later on tonight, I genuinely feel the first 20 minutes, Martinelli was electric. He was on it. Maybe the first 25, 30 minutes at a stretch, he was really good. And then he just goes into these moments of just poor decision-making, not really running at his play, his fullback, not really making the right decisions and stuff like that. So it's hard to kind of really gauge how poor he was today, because he's having some really good moments, but really some bad, real bad moments. But I think what it is with him, his good moments aren't good enough, and his bad moments are really, really bad. And, I think when you're costing us real good opportunities to score, the chance in the first half, he should have scored. I mean, I know there was players on the line, but get it on target. And then maybe it hit the keeper, but I think he should have done a lot better. I think, he could have gone at Trent a little bit more. He had the space, he had the opportunities to cross the ball into the box, and he didn't. On Saka, again, it's hard because he's getting the numbers.
He is.
And I'll look at Salah. Salah wasn't great today, but he scored a world-class goal, and he's given moments. And obviously, Saka didn't do that today per se. But I think in the second half, he put a few crosses into the box a bit more. But I think if we had gone 2-1 down, I need to see a bit more from him. And again, look, we have high expectations of a 22-year-old because he's got 15 goals last season. So, yeah, look, the pressure's there, and we're going to need these players fit and firing, because if we want to go in and get to the success and do the things that I'm claiming that we're going to do, like win the league, we need these players. It's hard because, again, it's a top team that we played against. So it swings and roundabouts, and I'm not letting anybody off the hook, because I just did the watch along with you, and I was as fuming as you with those players. So I'm not sitting there saying now I'm level-headed about things. I'm more just saying, and in the grand scheme of things, we did play a good team, but they didn't turn up as well. And I think they two things can be right at times. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest showing from either of them.
Let's look at some positives, man. Who stood out for you today in an Arsenal shirt?
Listen, the Holy Grail, the trifecta of perfectism.
The trio.
The trio. They are honestly special players. Now, all week we've done, I'm sure you did it, I did it, with the combined 11s, and we did the whole previews with all I did it with Kopish, and I did it with Mons, and I did it with Roms, and it was a lot of, well, Declan Rice isn't world class because he's not done it in this competition. Saka's not world class because he's not done it for long enough. Saliba's not done it because he's not world class because he's not done it here, and he doesn't start for France, and Konate does over him. Absolute BS. Those three players are genuinely world class. I saw one man in Declan Rice basically stop a whole 5-man for Liverpool scoring a goal against us. And for me, the guy is he's just, I mean, every week I have to keep saying I have to apologise to Nikki from West Ham Fan TV, because in the summer I was like, I wanted Caicedo, and every
You
week.
have to apologise to Robbie as well, innit? You wanted Declan Rice.
I wanted Caicedo over
Yeah.
Declan Rice, and I wanted both. But I was saying, if we had to choose over the two, I would say to Caicedo because of the right back position that he can play. But listen, Declan Rice is breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. He is absolutely amazing. But when you've then got Gabriel, who's showing up and showing out, when you've got Saliba, who is just imperious, when he's on the ball, his silky touches, his control, like everything about these three players can lead you to win a title, because you know they say titles are made on defenses, and we've got three really good players that are kind of stopping those goals. I don't know how many games we played, but we've conceded 16 goals, the same amount of Liverpool. So yeah, listen, it's going to be interesting. But I definitely going to agree with you. We do need to improve the attack, but when you've got those three players, you feel like you've got a chance. You feel like you're halfway there to winning something. So listen, those three players really, really stepped up. And you know what? I'm also going to say that I thought Havertz, he wasn't great, but he wasn't, the worst. I'll tell you, I'm going to keep saying it. I think Szoboszlai was absolutely dog poo today. But people won't say it because he looks good.
Kevin Nolan, right?
Listen, I've said it over and over again. He is no better than Kevin Nolan when he was at Bolton and West Ham and Newcastle. He is no better than Tudgay when he was at Blackburn. And people need to remember, these are some old school footballers that people are going to forget. This guy of Szoboszlai isn't great. He isn't great. But today he did play all right. I will give him that. But listen, I think when people look at Havertz, they just kind of really stamp on him a little bit and say a lot about him, which is in a negative light. And I'm not sitting here defending his performance, but I thought he was okay. But they'll give Szoboszlai, a blight because of what? Because he's come to the league and he's done this and he's just started. I just think it's a bunch of excuses. So, listen, I'm not sitting there saying that giving, Havertz more praise than he deserves, because I don't think he was amazing. But in the first half, some nice touches, some nice little moves as well, especially. But, we want a bit more. For £65 million, you do want a bit more. So, yeah, there's something to work with him. But listen, I think we take the point and we move, because, it's a difficult place to go. Everybody kind of got a bit giddy for Arsenal fan this week. I said 2-0, but I said I didn't think we was going to concede. And you know what? I don't know if you would agree, but I don't know if we would have conceded if it wasn't for...
We don't know now.
Well, if it was a certain Zinchenko learned how to defend.
Disappointing, wasn't it?
You know what? I think you said it on the stream. I think it was either you or Turkish. It's just like, if you're undone by a real world-class piece of skill play, you can live with it. The finish was world-class, but he didn't have to do much. It was almost like he just had to just walk in the middle, cutting him through the middle, and you just slap it in the top corner. So, listen, the finish was great, but Zinchenko, we need a lot more from you, because you're the one that's always doing the rallying cries. You're the one that's trying to lead these bloody players into the new promised land of winning. You're the one that's won trophies at Man City with the likes of Jesus. So you should be leading with those performances. And I'll be honest, it's just some of the lacks in concentration, the lacks in sort of like real good defensive nous that we want from someone like Timber or Tomiyasu that we know that can do. So listen, we need a lot more from him, because he's now 25, 26 years old, and you're one of the leaders. Whether you want to be it or not, you're captain of your country, fantastic. You now need to bring those performances defensively to the Arsenal. And people could say, oh, well, he's not a defender. Arteta, it's all on him. Listen, you're there, do your job. As you said, do your job. And it's not for me to sort of sit here and give him a blight, because as I said, you are there to do the job. Just do it. Make the right decisions. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we played Aston Villa. Leon Bailey, just, real easy opportunity he gives him to kind of score the goal. So, listen, we know what he can do attacking-wise, but defensively, he needs to do a lot more. And it could have been 1-0 to the Arsenal. It really could have been. But listen, we'll take the point. Liverpool fans, I'm sure you're going to be crying. I'm sure you're going to say that Arsenal aren't good enough. I'm sure you're going to say all the things, but we've come to your gaff and taken a point. So you can stop crying. You can stop moaning. Matt, Callum, Drifty, my mate Paris, Mons, Roms, all of you lot, you're going to say that Arsenal are crap, this, that, and the other, but we've taken a point from your ground and we move to the next game. So listen, N5, you're coming in a couple of weeks and you know what's going to happen. I'm sure we're going to beat them. So I'm quite confident, man. Listen, Merry Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas, man.
Good.